Hello, hello, everyone.
Hey, y'all.
We have to wait a little bit for people to tune in.
Okay.
So today, though, we're here with Sister Miriam James Heidland
Yes.
of the Society of Our Lady of the Most Holy Trinity, SOLT for short, SOLT, right?
Yes, ma'am. SOLT. Yeah, we've got a booth here and everything, so we're in it with it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, Sister Miriam is a Catholic author and speaker, and she's here at SEEK with me, SEEK 2019.
2019 in Indianapolis.
Yeah. So, are you having a good time?
I am. Yes, I'm totally exhausted. It's been wonderful. The introvert is almost to reach maximum capacity, but it's been so wonderful meeting so many people and talking to people, and just, yeah, it's been absolutely glorious. It's been an honor to be here. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, the students and everyone here just loves hearing you talk.
Oh,
and you just have such a beautiful heart. Like you can just see it shine through.
Thank you.
Through the whole audience.
Amen.
And I really mean that. I'm not saying that just because we're live. I just really mean that.
We're live, yeah.
You just really hit my heart. And I'm like, oh, Sister Miriam. Anyway.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so we're going to wait a couple more minutes. Do you have anything that you would like to say or
Yeah, I just want to say hi to everybody who's not here. How about that? Because if you're here, you're probably not watching this. So you're probably in a workshop. So yeah, we've been praying for people and just, it's been really exciting and really wonderful. And I've talked to so many people who said, I didn't even know why I came. And then they show up and they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Just the Mass. Don't you think the Mass is beautiful?
It's so beautiful.
It's like just 17,000 people and seeing the army of priests march in. It's just absolutely glorious.
Okay, first of all, I forgot to introduce myself again. If you don't know who I am, I'm Jacqueline Burkepile, and I am with Church Pop. I am the assistant editor of Church Pop. So I've got my little t-shirt here and everything, and I sound so Texan.
You are, girl.
Yeah. So anyway, and you live in Texas too.
I do. I live in South Texas.
Are you from Texas?
I was actually born there. I was born there, but I moved away. So I'm a Washington girl at heart, but now I live back in the great nation of Texas. So yeah.
The great nation.
The great nation. It is. It's a nation unto itself. I love the attitude of go big or go home. Like in Texas, it really is a nation unto itself. So they're like, we could secede from the union, we wouldn't even care. So. But, yeah.
Well, I live in Arkansas now,
okay.
But Texas has. We just moved there. I was born in Texas, raised in Texas. Texas is my place. Not that any other place in the country isn't great.
It's wonderful.
We are so happy for every place because God makes every place.
I love it.
Anyway,
we do have places near and dear to our heart. So
yes.
Right now we're in the South. So
exactly. So is this the South?
We're not in the South here.
You
and I are in the South.
Oh, we're in the South.
Yeah, we're in the
okay,
South.
That's my ditzy that's coming out.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
We're in the north here.
Okay, so we're totally gonna get started, I guess. And I just used totally.
Totally.
So, yeah.
We're young. We're like high schoolers.
Yeah, totally.
Totally.
Okay, so, why don't you just tell me a little bit, for those who don't know who you are or your ministry, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I joined my religious community, the Society of Our Lady of the Most Holy Trinity, 20 years ago. And I entered right out of college. I played Division I volleyball in college. And my goal at that time was to work for ESPN. So I was pursuing maybe one day a path to have a job there. And then God radically interrupted my life. So I was as a child, went to Mass every Sunday and all that kind of stuff. But when I was in college, I didn't stop going to church regularly and had a very broken life, was an addict and things like that. And God sent a very holy Catholic priest into my life who, over the course of many years, mentored me and changed the course of my destiny. So at 22, I just graduated from college. My life was still a mess, but I heard Jesus call me to be his bride. And I said yes. And now I speak at conferences and retreats across the nation about healing and restoration and forgiveness and mercy and love and beauty and all good things. That's my deep desire. So,
that's so beautiful. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, my phone just locked. Okay. What do you enjoy most about being at conferences like this?
It's wonderful to meet people and hear stories. I hear so many stories. I wish I could hear more. I can't, because there's so many people here. But, you go on stage and you give a talk and you're speaking what you believe the Holy Spirit is asking you to speak. And then it just opens up people's hearts and then they're sharing back to you. It's really beautiful to see God work in the hearts of so many people. So it's humbling and Yeah, it's a sacred, people's stories, that it's like holy ground. It's really sacred. And to be able to be invited into that journey and to behold those places is really a noble thing that I take very seriously. So, yeah.
Beautiful. So, for those who couldn't make it to this conference or don't have the opportunity to come to something like this, what would you like them to know?
Well, I think there's reasons why people don't come or things like that, or they just can't quite make it. And I think that just we sometimes go to confession for the first time in a long time for certain people. So they're moments of deep grace, but they're not the end all be all. The end all be all is a daily journey with Christ, which is open and available to us at every moment.
So how would you, there's a lot of us who are walking around, not just in silence, but also outwardly and inwardly, we're all seeking healing, like in some way. But there are some people who are just so broken that they feel like they're abandoned.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to those kind of people?
Honestly, I think all of us have those places. I think every single person has a place in their heart where they feel abandoned by God, or they've had experiences in childhood of being abandoned, and or said everybody has something, and God is in pursuit of us all. And I think that's why it's very important to know your story and to know all the chapters of your story and to be very honest about that and allowing Christ to integrate us. And many times that first step is just admitting things that have happened, or admitting where we experience abandonment, or admitting what happened in our families, or we can't heal when we live in denial, right? So being very honest about what happened and where we are and where we want to be, and then inviting Christ into those places and seeking help to do that. So that help comes from active prayer, it comes through counseling, it comes through confession, it comes through the reception of the Eucharist, the way that God heals us, healing for all different kinds of things, but great books about healing. So I really personally believe that the biggest gift that we can give to each other, whether we're married, whether we're at work, whether we're in religious communities or at conferences, whatever, the best gift we can give to other people is to allow Jesus Christ to come and heal us every day.
Yeah. Awesome. So how would you how would you encourage people who are, lukewarm Catholics, or people who aren't really active in their faith and, maybe want to become Catholic or haven't had the opportunity to, become a better Catholic?
Yeah.
Like, because there's a lot of that hardness of heart in our culture. I know that we should pray for those people, but to those people and to maybe those people who know those people, how would you, that's two questions, I guess. How would you encourage them to evangelize to those people, and how would you encourage those people to grow in their faith?
Yeah. Well, I think how we can help one another is by authentically loving each other. And everybody knows nagging never works. But when people see us living differently, they notice that we live differently. And inevitably they will say, well, you live differently. What is that about? So our own personal relationship with Christ is going to speak far beyond anything we can say verbally. And I'm wondering, for people that have fallen away from the church, or are non-believers or whatever, I would wonder, what are some of the, I would just kind of inquire with them, like, what are some of the deepest desires of my heart? Like, what's really happening? What am I looking for in life? We hear Jesus ask the disciples that in the Gospel of John. The first question he asks them is, what are you looking for? And many times we're lost in a sea of looking for other things, looking for happiness here, contentment here. And I don't know, maybe what we're really looking for, which we will, but we'll find that in Christ. So I don't know, come and see, like ask God to speak to you, ask God to speak his heart to you and see what happens.
And how about people who are discerning the religious life and are too afraid to follow that call? I know you talked about that last night with the priesthood encouraging young men to discern and answer that call. I'm asking both for men and women, but specifically for women because, I know whenever I was younger, I was always upset because people would be like, oh, you'd make a good sister. And I wasn't I hadn't really discerned enough to know what I wanted. And then I finally decided I'm going to just let go and let God decide what I'm going to do. And that's a long story, but how would you how would you advise these men and women who are just really afraid or feel like people are nagging them?
Yeah.
Like, what would you say?
I was just talking about that actually at lunch to a group of women, and I think we have to examine our fears, because many times our fears are unfounded, or they're speaking of wounds from the past. So people say, I'm afraid to enter religious life because I'm afraid I'm going to be lonely. Afraid I don't want to have, I'm not going to have children. I want to be married and have children. And so those are beautiful natural desires to be married. Everybody has those, right? Excuse me. So I think what they find is they have this idea of what seminary life for men or what religious life is going to be like. But when they go and visit, they see that there's normal people who love the Lord, who've been given an extraordinary gift, who are trying to live the best they can. And it's not perfect, but we're trying, And I think many times what fear does is, that's why Satan speaks fear to us, is because it paralyzes us. And we can spend our whole life in fear. I would say go and see. Go and see, like, what's the desire of your heart? How do you want to live your life? Like, how are you going to give the gift of yourself in love? And why not just go and see if God's calling you to that? And if he's not, he's not. But at the end of the day, he's not going to try to strong arm you to do something you don't want to do, because he wants us to be gloriously and fully alive. So he's created in the heart of every person a pathway to that vocation, which will, I always say that too, it will bring God the most glory, it'll bring you the most joy, and it'll bring the world the most beauty.
And he'll give you that desire.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you, like you said, you don't want to do something you don't need to do. So anyway, that's all the time we have.
Yeah.
And we are so glad that you decided to tune in to our interview with Sister Miriam Heidland.
Yeah, thanks, y'all. God bless you.
I am Jacqueline Burkepile, and keep watching for our coverage and on Instagram and on Facebook. We have another interview with Lila Rose this afternoon, so keep watch for that. Have a good day, and God bless everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.